as lovable, good, beautiful, and precious, experiencing pleasure in them just as they are. So love, therefore, it's an affective human emotion and the most fundamental of all emotions. All positive feelings, desire, trust, hope, pleasure, joy, happiness, they all originate in and proceed from love. And the negative sentiments, aversion, fear, sorrow, things of that sort, they're a reaction to a lack of love. So love is not just a decision. It's not just self-gift. It's not just spiritual. Before all that, it is an emotion that, like all emotions, has accompanying physical characteristics. And it is, first of all, something received. Let me say that again. Love is, first of all, something received. Received from who? God, first of all, but also others. God wants to love us this way. And that's why my first question after the creed is, do you feel it? Because he wants you to. And he wants you to feel it from others as well. Again, why? Because we're created for happiness. Now, okay, let's talk a little bit about happiness. Happiness, it's being open to all the goodness that comes to me. In so many different ways, wherever it's found. It's being open to love in the many ways that love is communicated to me. But in order to be capable of being open to the love and to find happiness, we first have to be ourselves, right? You need to be you. And in order to be you, you must first become you. And in order to become you, you must first receive the gift of yourself. In order to receive this gift, there has to be another who gives. And who gives without taking. Without qualification. What do we say? Unconditional love. Without demanding anything. Who gives you what is not his own, but yours. Your own goodness. Amen. It's part of the natural order. Never mind the supernatural order. That this has to be given to us from another person. And again, it's not up here, it's here. We're talking basic building blocks here. And the other person can only do this for you when he is already happy with himself, meaning he's received himself from another. And thus is open to the goodness of all else. And it starts with your parents. It's supposed to happen there. We'll talk more about that later. But this is so important. This becoming ourselves, because every human being, no matter how many close friends he or she has, is at the end of the day unique and alone. And that's a good thing. Unique and alone. We are meant to stand alone. So that we can be in communion with others. He or she stands alone in his unique self, either weakly, inadequately, and unhappily, or firmly, strongly, and happily. And if he or she perceives themselves to be good, worthwhile, desirable, lovable, they will possess themselves strongly and firmly. That's good news, isn't it?
Yes.
And let me tell you something. Growing in purity of heart demands this firmness, strength, and happiness. Purity of heart will also contribute to it. But in order to take this journey, we need to know who we are. We need to love who we are. The golden rule, right? Love others as you love yourself. We always forget that part. In order to make this journey, we need to possess ourselves. We need to be firm, strong, and happy. So, how does this happen? Again, how do we become ourselves, receive ourselves from another? Well, one psychologist has termed this process the process of affirmation. So let's just talk a little bit about that. So this sense of one's own firmness, again, we're totally dependent on another human being's gift of affirmation. And he would break that word up in three. AF-firm-ation. We're emphasizing the firm. Wish I had a whiteboard with me now. Right? Affirmation. Someone is strengthening you through love. Love strengthens. So again, when I talk about emotional love, there's a strong quality to it. I want to be clarifying our understanding of the emotions. You know, we're kind of afraid of them, and we think they're weak, and we think they make us selfish, and they can. But if they're given their proper due, and if they're put in their proper place, they can make us strong. Right? We want to restore passion to the passion. We want to tap into that. It's going to make us firm. That's good news, right? So, affirmation. And the earlier in life this happens, the earlier in life we receive this gift of ourselves, the sooner that we're going to grow in firmness and strength. And we'll be able to cope with the world and and to contribute to the world the strength that God has given us, and to share our happiness with other people. And if it hasn't happened yet, or if it hasn't fully happened, that's okay too. Right? We just read that beautiful creed, like, God's going to do whatever He can to make this happen. So let's keep going on this affirmation track. So your affirmation, you're feeling firm and strong, you're possessing yourself in joy, you're feeling worthwhile. It starts with and is dependent upon another human being who, number one, is aware of and attentive and present to your unique goodness and worth. Separate from and prior to any good or worthwhile thing you may do or can do. Unconditional love. That's what we're talking about. I love you for you. And even if I notice your defects, they're just bouncing off. Ting, ting, ting. I might notice them, I might need to address them later on, but not right now. It's just, wow. Wow. So awareness is number one, attentiveness. Number two, I'm aware and I'm attentive to you, and then I'm allowing myself to be moved by you, to feel attracted to you. And again, this doesn't just mean like opposite sex, sexual attraction, just, man, you're in the presence of another person. Moved by, feels attracted to you, finds delight in your goodness and worth, without desiring to possess you or use you or change you. So number one, awareness and attentiveness. Number two, I'm moved through my awareness and attentiveness by you. Number three, I permit you to see it. It's revealed simply and primarily, again, through these psychosomatic reactions. You see it in my eyes, you hear it in my voice, the way I carry myself. Like, my posture is saying there's no other place I'd rather be except with you. All this is part of being moved. So again, these changes constitute the tenderness and the delight revealed. Eyes, gaze, touch, tone of voice, choice of words. And they cause you, me, the one being affirmed, cause me to feel, sense, see, and hear that I am good and worthwhile. I'm good for this other person. And I'm good for myself. And you come to feel and know who and what you are. Not just know, feel and know. Two different types of knowledge which are united there. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. There's the intuitive knowing and then there's the intellectual knowing. They need to come together. Otherwise we'll never fully know ourselves. And again, the spiritual love can't touch us on this level. Why? Because we're not merely spiritual beings. We are spiritual beings. But we're a body-soul composite, right? Remember from the seminary we learned all these fancy body-soul composite. That just means we're body and soul. We're the body of our souls and the souls of our bodies. Or St. Paul might break it down a little more. Spirit, soul, and body. Spirit meaning psyche, soul meaning soul, body meaning body. Sorry, I couldn't go anymore. You know what I mean? Get it. But the point is, we're not just spiritual beings. There's a divine quality and a human quality. So feeling and knowing would be the spiritual aspect in this part, but feeling would be the bodily aspect, that human type of knowledge. It's important both with regards to our relationship with others and our relationship with God. Because again, that spiritual love can't touch us in a fully human way. So we can have a firm belief, and I think all of us have been there, right? I mean, how many times have you heard a friar give a talk on the love of God? It's like all we ever talk about. But, like, okay, so, you know, blah, blah, blah. But, so I may have a firm belief that I've received everything from God. I may have a firm belief that God is my greatest good. But all that doesn't stir in me a feeling of love. And it's very possible that this will leave me emotionally as cold as stone. And I may even have an aversion towards God under some aspect, if I'm not feeling it. A real feeling of love for God will come only when my emotion can participate in the spiritual love for God. But again, that presupposes that I am fully capable of this emotional love, which presupposes that I've been given the gift of myself. And if I lack this capacity, if I can't do it, then I can never fully possess real human love for God. My spiritual love will not penetrate the rest of my being. And that happened in the saints. The spiritual love did penetrate their entirety. These were passionate people. Their emotions, their passions weren't everything by any means, but it was all working together, and they were powerful because of that. And they were happy. That's why they could suffer crazy things. You know, we have the relics of the Mexican martyrs. Why could they were already in heaven, right? I mean, they were just like overflowing with the love of God. They were set. Because the spiritual love had penetrated the rest of their being. But it doesn't always happen in us. And if it hasn't, then all the sermons and the prayers and the meditations about the love of God remain fruitless, right? And we've had times in our life, maybe before our conversion, or, you know, it's just like, it's just not hidden, you know? I hear what you're saying. Or I see your lips moving, but I can't hear what you're saying, you know? Like, we need human love for God, and we need to feel His love on a human level because we're human beings. Don't deny that. You know, a lot of times we think we need to deny our humanity in order to get to God, but Jesus did the exact opposite thing. We're going to talk about that tomorrow too. The incarnation, God and man. So we're all running in the opposite direction. He's like, hey, where are you guys going? You'll come back. You'll figure out it doesn't work. I mean, just imagine, like, let's just give an example. Like, if your spouse or your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your other friends, like, they only told you they love you. And they might, you know, they might give you a gift every now and again and show it in that way. They might do things for you, take care of you in some way. But their eyes, their tone of voice, their touch, their posture, never gave you the feeling knowledge to back up that head knowledge. Imagine that.